What is up, YouTube? Running Gun Sports back here with another video. Today we're going to be going over the Chiefs offseason team review. But before we do that, make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe, turn on notifications because we post videos weekly. Also, follow our socials, TikTok and Instagram at Running Gun Sports. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, the Chiefs 2020, I'd say a pretty good season for them. 14-2. They should have gone 15-1, but they rested all their starters in week 17. Um, and as you know, they lost to the Buccaneers in Super Bowl 55, and that was an absolute blowout. We've never seen the Chiefs lose by that many points. And everybody thought that game was going to be close, but very unfortunate for the Chiefs. I thought the Chiefs were going to win that game. I don't think there would be anything stopping them. But kind of a disappointing season because everybody thought they were going to win the Super Bowl, and they just got humiliated by Tom Brady.
Yeah, I agree. The Chiefs, were, looking to run it back, as they said a lot of the during the playoffs. That's what their motto was, run it back. And they looked so good. They had a better record on the 2020 season than they did on the 2019 season where they won the Super Bowl. And obviously that gives them more confidence. They only really lost one game. They did lose two, but one was in week 17 to the Chargers, and they had all their backups in. But they looked way better. Their stats were better. Mahomes was playing on fire. And then Mahomes really, he kind of fell off a little, and he was easily the front runner for the MVP race. And then Aaron Rodgers stepped on the gas and caught up to him. And Mahomes really didn't only, he had 6 interceptions, but anyone who watched the Chiefs play in the late season, that there was some sloppy games from him. Game versus the Miami Dolphins, I believe he threw 2 or 3 picks, and which is uncharacteristic for Mahomes. He never throws multiple picks, but really versus the Atlanta Falcons, there was about 3 interceptions that were dropped that game, and he only got away with throwing one when 3 were dropped. So, I think for Patrick Mahomes, yes, he's the best player in the NFL, arguably, but he also gets quite lucky sometimes, and you know, the luck is not something good to rely on. You got to rely on your talent, and the luck is way more important.
Yeah, definitely. So in the off season, they did a lot for their offensive line, which was the problem for them and their defensive line in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes was just he looked like Russell Wilson out there. But he still played very well. He had some really good throws, but the defense was just too much for him. They signed a lot of guards. Jaron Reid from the Seattle Seahawks. I do personally do not know why the Seattle Seahawks let him go. He's the future of their defensive line. He's going to be a good addition in the future for the Kansas City Chiefs. But they got a lot of offensive linemen: Joey Thuney, Kyle Long, Austin Blythe, and they got Brown Jr. from the Ravens. Um, so I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to come back even better. That offense, nothing's going to be able to stop them. And I
Yeah,
would not be surprised if there's going to be a rematch of the Super Bowl.
as you mentioned, Orlando Brown Jr., in my opinion, one of the best moves in the free agency by any team. Really, they had a 31st overall pick in the draft this year, and this year's draft class, there was good linemen, but there wasn't any linemen that were going to be around 31st overall that were first round caliber guys. And, obviously, Orlando Brown Jr. is definitely a first round talent who was selected in the first round out of Oklahoma. And I think that they got their value for that first round pick. And instead of reaching for a lineman that really could have been not as good as an Orlando Brown type of guy, they really did very well with that pick. And they got a good pick, a good player for that pick and good value. And, the Ravens got their first overall pick. So I think it's a pretty balanced trade. And I think that they did lose a couple of other players, Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz, to the Colts and Mitchell Schwartz was released. He has not been signed yet, but they did do a decent job as filling them in. Joe Thuney from the Patriots and Austin Blythe from the Rams, as you mentioned, and I think that that's very smart of them to really bring in some guys to fill in the lost positions. And a lot of it is letting go Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz is because of the demand of the money of the contract that Patrick Mahomes has to maintain. It's just so much money. $503 million is the highest contract in the NFL we've seen. And, yes, Mahomes is a great player. Is he worth $503 million? I don't know. I think that by the end of these 10 years, we'll see if he is or not, but that's a ton of money and it kind of hurts you because you can't distribute it distribute it equally to the rest of your team when you're spending so much on Mahomes and just on one player.
Yeah, definitely. So 2021, their schedule's pretty controversial. They play a lot of good teams and a couple bad teams as well. I think they'll do really well in their division. I don't think it's an amazing division aside from the Chiefs. I think the Chargers will actually split with them, but they'll beat the Raiders and the Broncos both times. But they have to play the North, so they got to play the Browns, Ravens. The Steelers might even be a tough game, and then that, and they've got to play the Packers because the conference games. They also got to play the Titans and the Bills, and the Washington football team and the Cowboys, which all might be good games. So I'm not sure. I think they'll go 14-3, maybe even 15-2. If I don't know if anybody will be able to stop that offense. So yeah,
Yeah, my projection for the Chiefs in 2020, it's pretty surprising. I honestly think that they could go 17-0. I just think that after a bitter loss in the Super Bowl, they're going to really want to bounce back and go on a revenge tour. And we've seen it happen before. Teams lose in the Super Bowl. They were one game away from it all. And honestly, the way they blew out the Bills, I didn't know if the Bucks even had a shot versus them. I did end up picking the Bucks to win just for the fact that Tom Brady, there's no betting against him. I mean, it's kind of a foolish move now. And I think that they are going to come back angry, and I think that they'll meet the Bucks in the Super Bowl next year. And whether they win it or not will be the real story at the end of the year. I really will not be surprised if we see the Bucks versus the Chiefs. Could be like the Warriors versus Cavaliers back in 2015, 2016, where we see the same two teams playing for the title a few years in a row. It would not shock me at all. And the Bucks are returning 22 of the 22 Super Bowl starters, and they won it last year, so they've got the best shot out of anyone right now. So
for sure. So that's gonna wrap up our video today. Pretty brief. Probably my pick to win the Super Bowl next year, just because they lost last year. I don't think anything's gonna. Patrick Mahomes is just gonna come back with a fury. He's just gonna wipe out everyone basically. But yeah, if you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications. Next week we're gonna be moving to the NFC, so maybe we'll get a chance to cover your favorite team. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Follow our socials: TikTok, Instagram, Running Gun Sports. Yeah, have a great day. Thanks for